Hello everyone. Today I'm going to give a online presentation on the topic education for active citizenship and democracy. This is the study material that we are preparing for the Alliance of Universities Teacher Training Curricula to outcast radicalism and promote equality in Asian societies. So this video I start with the first module, education and democracy. And first and foremost, we are trying to understand the meaning and definition of democracy. That is module 1.1. The presentation outline of this session, I'll try to be in the six subtopics. First of all, we'll try to understand the meaning of democracy, the word democracy. Then, what are the foundation, historical background of democracy across the world? And then, after that, we'll try to define democracy and also look behind the spirit of modern democracy across the world. And then, what does we conceive by a modern concept of democracy? And then I will go for the conclusion. So first of all, we'll try to understand what is the meaning of democracy. So democracy, the word itself contains, it's derived from Greek word demos, which meaning the people, and kratos, meaning the power. So literal meaning of the word democracy is power to the people. So it is the power that is given to the people, or this is the power that rests upon the people, is derived, it is in the hands of the people, general people, common people. So according to Aristotle, democracy is a government by many. So this is the government by the common. And the Greek word corresponding to democracy suggested a system in which the ruling people perform the ruling or rule across the country, the nation, or a city. So where does the foundation of democracy we derive? So what are the historical background or the context of democracy across the world? So we can go in four subtopics. So this is, first of all, we have to understand the ancient Greek democracy. So where it is also regarded as the mother of democracy, where in the Greece or Athens, Athenian democracy is the mother of democracy. And then ancient Roman, who conceived the concept of democracy, the word republic, and then we'll also try to see about a glimpses of democracy, understanding from the Indian perspective also, that is in the South Asia, and then the modern concept of democracy across the world. So Athens is regarded as the birthplace of democracy. So democracy developed because of three Athenian rulers, Solon, Celesthenes, Pericles. So they allowed the citizens to vote, and Athens developed into a direct democracy. So where people can choose their themselves. So in this, they separated the government into three branches: the legislative, executive, and the judicials. And the philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle continued the development of democracy through their writings. And the natural laws, the laws of the nature, they explained how people desired to be self-ruled. So, as the continue of the first slide, the previous slide, in this, I talk about three philosophers who are, like we have done a great writings, brought about regarding democracy. First of all, the first Greek philosopher who voiced for democracy was Socrates. So Socrates believed in meritocracy. So he believed that the people who are having exceptional ability, really they are smart, intelligent, and also those who have the moral characters should be the leaders in the country or in the city. And similarly, Plato, who wrote the Republic, also he believed that the state should be ruled by the wisest philosopher kings, not the richest to save the people from evil. And then there comes another philosopher, Aristotle. So Aristotle wrote Politics, and he believed that men had a desire and need to live in a governed society. And now, so we can see that after the Athenians, when the Romans they invaded Athens, they also came in contact with democracy because of the war, and they could also establish democracy, the republic based on democracy in 509 BC. Then they divided government into three separate branches, and the legacy of the democracy given by the Romans, maybe like put in three. That is, number one was the idea of republic, was born or is the gift of by the Romans. Okay, and then legal and political terms used today also mostly related to the Romans writings, and the government of laws, not of man. These are the three ideas that were given by the Romans. So let me repeat once again. Rome's legacy to democracy is the idea of republic, legal and political terms used today, a government of laws, not of the man. Now, after this, there is a brief, some of the scattered writings about presence of democracy in the Indian subcontinent also. So they have used the terms like Ganapads, the Samitis, etc. These get reflected from the writings of Tanwar and Kadam, India, the mother of democracy, and then also the famous book written by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1946, The Discovery of India. So they explain that there were some form of very informal, scattered form of some democratically ruled states across Indian subcontinent also that existed here in around 2000 to 1500 BC, and later on also, even though there are no writings in a very clear and concise way, but during the time of the Gautam Buddha, so there were some gunpaths where there were the elected members used to rule the state in Indian, some part of some very small states of Indian, Indian states. Now, what is the definition of democracy? So democracy is a system in which people get to decide who represents them and which policies these people promote. So Abraham Lincoln's famous definition of democracy is a system of the government that is ruled by the people, of the people, by the people, and for the people. So that how decisions are made in democracy is possible by majority rules. In other words, whatever position is supported by the majority of people wins. Okay, these are the some aspects of democracy. So how democracy is spread across the world can be seen here is first of all the beginning of with the Enlightenment in 17th and 18th century, when the power of monarchs to rule was challenged by the commons, and 1776 Declaration of Independence in the US was a benchmark. Similarly, Uh, then there was, after the French Revolution, uh, the declaration of American War and then French Revolution, this also gave away the, like room for spreading of democracy across the world. And there were some anti-colonial movements across the world also, in developing countries especially. And then after the First World War, like countries united together. And then after the Second World War, the democracy got rooted across the world in the newly, independent, colonially independent countries across the world. Now, modern concept of democracy, we can understand it that it was propounded by Abraham Lincoln, and it implies that the ruling power rests with the people without distinction of caste, creed, color, or gender, sex. In modern times, however, the democracy has acquired a much wider connotation. It is used not only for specific forms of social and political control, but also more generally to denote a certain way of life. Ideally, the democratic way of life is characterized by respect for the dignity of the individuals, encouragement of the uniqueness in human beings rather than the imposition of set of pattern, cooperation, free exchange and development of progressive ideas and tolerance of intellectual differences. Now I conclude here that ethically democracy rests on the faith that every individual, howsoever humbly placed in life, is entitled to full respect for his or her dignity and worth as an individual. When democracy gives emphasis on formation and functioning of government, it deals with suffrage, election, voting power, sharing of government, and so on. So on, it is termed as political democracy. When democracy seeks to break down caste and class distinctions and implies equality of opportunity, it becomes social democracy. And lastly, when democracy is evidenced in the economic life and activities of people, satisfying their basic needs of food, shelter, and clothing, and assuring them all a minimum standard of living, it becomes economic democracy. So this is the end of the lecture here regarding defining, understanding the meaning of democracy. Thank you all of you. Thank you very much.